Alright, peace. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving honor and praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Giving double honors to 7130 South Chicago that taught me this truth. Giving double honors to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator has awoken in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. Alright, brothers and sisters, I want to go into, a little discussion real quick. Talking about I guess this podcast show, and it's not just him, it's a lot of these podcasters that's, coming up in the world, so-called black, so-called Hispanic, and things of this nature, and they're making a lot of money off of, the death and destruction of their own people, you know what I mean? And, I was sitting back listening to a guy that had got out of jail a couple of months ago by the name of Big Mike. And he's been talking about basically his years in the streets, gang banging and things of this nature, which led him to do, I think about 8 or 7 years in prison, or probably even longer, you know what I mean? But, when I look at this stuff, all I see is young black men that are broken, It's because what we don't understand is that when you don't have a sense of awareness of who you are from a nationalistic standpoint of view, you're really a prey to everybody. And see, what I mean by that is a lot of these folks that, they come amongst our people for whatever reason. It can be sports, it can be news, history, or whatever. They come to basically suck the resources out of our people and build themselves up. And a lot of times we do that to our own people. And see, when we look at individuals like this Big Mike, this is a brother that, for the most part, may have came from some type of broken household and things of this nature, not really having a male role model in his life. And a lot of times, man, when these young kids, they don't have male role models, they basically fall by the wayside, you know what I'm saying? And see, he's just an example of a lot of our brothers and sisters that's caught up in these streets. But what's going on with YouTube, right? YouTube, and a lot of our people, we're guilty of this too. We're putting a lot of this stuff on the internet for financial gain. And a lot of these young kids are listening to these people's stories, and they don't know how to process it. And what I mean by that is, when they listen to people like Big Mike or FBG, Butter, Lil Durk, and all the rest of these people, they can't understand that these people, a lot of them are playing a character. See? And a lot of these guys are really these type of guys. But see, the young kids can't really process it is because they don't understand that a lot of this stuff is what you would call dysfunctional behavior. And what's happening is these young guys with our dysfunctional behavior, we end up in prison or we end up in jail, And see, what's going on is that a lot of these channels that's out today, whether our people is involved in it or the other nations are involved in it, like Vlad TV and so on and so on. This is an atmosphere or a trap to basically do what? To lure our people back into jail. It's because Big Mike and a lot of these old gangsters that was in jail, they're the teachers now. You know what I'm saying? And what is their curriculum? Their curriculum is sex, money, and murder. And see, this is why it's very important that men and women start to be an active role model in their kids' lives, is because this is who is raising your kids. See, and the so-called white man is using these individuals to recruit the young kids of the next generation to make them crash out and lose their freedom. So the first scripture that I want to go to, I'm going to go to the 11th chapter of the book of Psalms, right? And I'm gonna read verses 2 and 5 and probably 6, right? It says, "For lo, the wicked bend their bow, they make ready their arrows upon the string, that they may privately shoot at the upright in the heart." And see, what are they shooting? They shooting at our people all the time, chaotic behavior that's on the television. Is because a lot of our kids, they look up to these guys. They look at them, they see the tattoos, they see that they've been in prison and things of this nature. And what's happening is, instead of our kids looking up to their parents, they starting to do what? Worship these people as gods. See? And see, this ain't nothing but an Israelite brother that is basically enacting what you would call the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, the 5th verse. It says, "Yah trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hateth." See, and this is what a lot of our people, right? Because we talking about wicked Gentiles and we talking about wicked Israelites. See, a lot of our people, we love violence. See, we wear violence like a garment. This how we wear it. See, you know, I was listening to the podcast, and he was talking about how he was getting so impatient because he was trying to find a job, right? And he couldn't really find a job, but he started to call different podcast people to tell his story, because his story, he is linked to what you would call King Von. So word is that him and King Von, they used to do shootings together, and him and King Von, him and Von went to jail. And the rumor is, well, he had already confessed that he did that. Basically, he told on certain situations to, I think, to lengthen his sentence and stuff like that. So when he started to really pop out on the YouTube scene, because he has a little brother, I can't think of his name right now, but the word is that he told on, I think, Vaughn and somebody else, you know. But my thing is this: regardless of what these guys' business is, they're being used to lullaby our kids to sleep. See, And that's why I think it's 2 Peter 5:8. It says, the devil walketh seeking whom he may devour. Now I'm just paraphrasing, but what does it mean to devour? To see who he can get into a person's life and disrupt what they doing. And this is what's going on in the so-called black community. We have a lot of disruption and a lot of chaotic behavior in our communities. Let's look at this. Let's turn to Psalms, the 55th chapter, in the 9th verse. It says, 55:9, it says, destroy, O Yah, and divide their tongues, for I have seen violence and strife in the city. See, and see, when it's talking about that the Creator's gonna divide their tongue, meaning that what it's gonna be confusion. See, and that's what's going on in the country today. There's a lot of confusion. See, and mainly it's a lot of confusion amongst these Europeans is because, see, they the ones that came together to destroy the so-called black man. See, this brother here, Big Mike or whatever his name is, this ain't nothing but an Israelite that is enacting what you would call the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Let's look at another scripture, 58:2 of the book of Psalms, right? Psalms 58:2. It says, yea, in heart ye work wickedness. Ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. And see, so when he couldn't get a regular job, now the new drug dealing is to be able to come on these shows and talk to and tell your story on how you was being a Negro in the neighborhood, how you was destroying the neighborhood and doing a lot of things. And see, it's very lucrative. People make a lot of money off of this. And who's making who is the one that's behind the scenes pushing this type of stuff? It's the so-called white man. That's who's doing this. Because his whole purpose is to keep the so-called black man at a certain type of level. Let's turn to Psalm 73:6. Psalm 73:6. Psalm 73:6. 1 second. Psalm 73:6. It says, therefore, pride compresseth them about as a chain. Violence cover them as a garment. See, that's why you don't have no love in the communities. See, because we got a lot of pride. We got a lot of envy. But see, Big Mike ain't nothing but a young kid. See, not saying that he's a child or nothing like that, but what I mean is that he was born probably in the late 80s or the 90s. And see, when those guys was growing up, man, our neighborhoods was being ravished by drugs and things of this nature. So a lot of times when kids don't have things to do, they get into a lot of trouble. And that's why the scripture says, therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. See, because in our communities, brothers and sisters, there's no love in our communities. We hate one another. We done did things to people. People done did things to us. And see, the real healing has to come from the nation of Israel. See, that's who needs the healing, is because once we're healed from a lot of these infirmities that we have, then we will be able to do what? To move to the next level. But we can't move to the next level is when we see each other, we got hatred towards one another. See, this guy went to jail for, I think he shot or killed somebody. Who they killing? They killing so-called black people. See? And this is what's going on in our communities, brothers and sisters. So I wasn't going to be too long with this, man. I just wanted to go over a few scriptures to talk about this thing because our people need to come out of what you would call the Babylonian mystery system, both physically and spiritually. Shalom.